A Mario Sluggers batting tier list is a video I've wanted to do for a long time. But the more Mario Sluggers I've played, the more I've begun to realize that hitting isn't quite what it seems. For example, we made a video on the top 10 batters back in 2021, but we had barely begun to play with nunchucks then. Our pick for number 2 was King K. Rool, but I don't even know if I'd pick him in the top 10 today. At that time, I remember calling Magikoopa the worst hitter in the game, but people have had great results with him in competitive play. So what gives? Well, these days, I think a batting tier list is nearly impossible to make due to the fact that even the bad hitters can have some huge advantages at the plate. And if the pitcher is good, it can completely shut down your elite hitters. Although I'm not doing a ranking today, I did sort every hitter into one of 5 categories: power hitters, medium hitters, hitters with loopy and line drive star swings, and weak captains. I also ordered them from best to worst left to right, but it's just an approximation. Now this is not ordered up to down. Power hitters are not always the best hitters in the game, and I'll explain why in a bit. But first, why break them up like this? Well, if you're playing with star on, batting in Mario Sluggers is defined as much by the star swing as it is by the power of the batter. So even though Tiny Kong has way less power than Birdo, they belong in the same category because they both have long line drive star swings that go deep into the outfield. So the approach you take with them at bat is very similar. Trajectories are also super important to your batting strategy. All of the players in the power category are in the high trajectory group. Everyone in the medium category has medium trajectory, and most of the players below have lower trajectories on their charge swings. I consider everyone in the first group to be major home run threats, everyone in the second group to be occasional dinger hitters, and the rest to hit them rarely or never. Toad and King Boo have the same power, but Toad being in the higher trajectory group gives him a much higher chance of hitting it over the fence instead of straight to the outfielder, especially in a short field. In general, I consider the medium hitters to be pretty weak overall. If you don't have amazing home run potential, you'll want to use your star swing more, but having a long line drive for your star swing like Wiggler does won't be very effective unless you're playing on a big field. Of course, some of the captains do have solid star swings, and for that reason I really like Mario as a hitter, even though he doesn't often hit dingers. Another thing that Mario has is a bat. Yes, a real bat. It's kind of rare in Sluggers. Just look at how many of the characters have funky bats. These bats actually give you a huge disadvantage when it comes to contact area. Bowser Jr., K. Rool, Donkey Kong, and many others will just completely whiff if you don't hit the ball square on. Now this isn't a big deal unless you want to go for a star swing. It's much easier to land a star swing with Tiny Kong than it is with, say, K. Rool. This is why K. Rool has dropped so much in my eyes. Both his normal contact and home run contact zones are so tiny, and it results in him racking up a ton of Ks. I also prefer Fire Bro and Boomerang Bro over Hammer Bro for this reason. It pays to have a legal bat. Now let's focus on the bottom sections of this image. In some games, it's fun to examine the absolute worst of the worst. Think Kirby and Bowser in Melee. But as you can see here, so many of these characters fall into the same group: weak hitter with line drive star swing. And the thing is, the short line drive star is damn good. These hitters are not bad at all, and might even be better than some of the power hitters. I made a whole video on their star swings a while ago, so go check that out. The gist is, it's really hard to catch their stars, so if you have a lot of them on your team, you can make massive comebacks with just a few stars on the star meter. But what might be even better is the loopy star swing. Magikoopa, Dixie Kong, and Boo are the only ones who have this, and King Boo and Boomerang Bro to a lesser extent. This swing puts the ball perfectly in between the infield and outfield, and requires the correct team setup and skill set to counter effectively. It makes Bowser teams with tons of Magikoopas completely broken. So you can see the torture that a full batting tier list would bring. It's enough to approximate the batting skill for our actual tier list, but if you asked me to pick the better hitter between Shy Guy and Koopa, I wouldn't really know what to say. Actually, here's a more interesting question. Who's a better hitter, Drybones or Boo? Or even Funky Kong versus Baby Daisy? It sounds silly, but I would not be able to say for sure one way or the other. The value of power hitter versus great star swing completely depends on your ability to hit the sweet spot consistently, and if your opponent can counter your star swings. And sometimes there isn't even a way to hit the sweet spot consistently, especially with players like K. Rool and Hammer Bro, who have the smallest sweet spots in the game. If you're up against a skilled pitcher like Boo, you've got such a small chance to actually line it up properly. In general, you'll want a mix of power and star swing contact on your team, but what's the right ratio? It seems that pure power is becoming less and less important. Maybe we should look at some stats to really contextualize this whole conversation. The online tournament last summer got a really good sample size with players of varying skill level, so I think those stats are a good place to start. Mario was the most used character with 161 plate appearances, and he performed really well, with a 425 batting average and 1.232 OPS. His star swing was a hit machine, helping him knock in the most doubles, triples, and overall hits out of anyone in the tournament. Yoshi also racked up a ton of hits with his star swing, with a nice 406 batting average. But shockingly, the rest of the Yoshis performed even better. Red Yoshi had an incredible 18 hits in his 26 plate appearances, with 13 of those being from his star swing. Here's another comparison. King Boo, the power hitter, had a cool 462 average and 1.05 OPS, while the weak Boo only managed a 293 average and 0.74 OPS. Okay, that makes sense. Hold on. Actually, I had that backwards. Boo was the one with the far better hitting stats, not King Boo. 47 of Boo's 61 hits were via his loopy star swing, showing that it's just as effective, if not more so, than the short line drive star swing. You want to know who's truly awful? King K. Rool. He had a 200 average and only 2 home runs in 59 plate appearances, with an insane 15 strikeouts. But not all power hitters were awful. Bowser managed an above 1.1 OPS, with less than half of K. Rool's strikeout rate. Is some of this due to user error? Definitely. K. Rool could have benefited more from his star swing, and I think Bowser is used more often by the better players. But across the board, the highest averages and OPSs belong to the weaker characters, who could use their star swings more effectively.
Mario could pack such a punch with that swing.
Oh!
And that's a home
Oh my
run!
god! It actually
Baby
happened on
DK with the bobble! It goes out of the park!
Oh, who knows? With that extra power.
Oh, what a bobble!
Oh my god.
Oh, what? What?
He's going home?
What?
No way.
It was the glitchy bobble! The glitchy bobble happened! Oh, I want to see that in the replay. I hope you don't take this as me saying that home run hitters clearly aren't as valuable at the plate as characters like Toadette or Koopa. I just think it's a lot murkier than some people might think, especially when up against a good pitcher. Landing a star swing with an actual bat is way easier than hitting it right on the sweet spot, and even then your home run could get robbed. Hitters don't define the game like they do in Mario Superstar Baseball. It's not enough to simply pick Bowser or Petey and call it a day. Even fielding and pitching can't be dominated by a single player. And with the addition of chemistry, it's so much more about how your team works together than about each individual player. That's why it's so hard to suss out who's really the best when it comes to batting skill. Though, even after saying it was impossible, now I feel inspired to try to make a batting tier list for real. But I'm just going to flash it on screen real quick so nobody can pick it apart. And there you go. Alright, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and you should go check out the drafting video we did recently if you want some expert opinions on the best team building techniques. See you all in the next one.